Наш притулок – це дім, побудований згоря. Відразу кажу, мами немає, тільки Ваня, але він спить, капець якийсь, напився. Колю, твоє майбутнє, воно стосується лише тебе. Це правда? Правда, правда. Як каже прислів'я, надія помирає остання.
The brutal war in Ukraine has brought a lot of destruction to Ukrainian cities and so many tragedies to Ukrainians and their kids. A House Made of Splinters is an Oscar-nominated film about children of Eastern Ukraine during the war. Today we are talking to the assistant director of this film, Azad Safarov, to learn more details about it. Hello, Azad. Thank you for joining us today. You're with us from Kiev. And I know that it's being shown now in the Ukrainian cinemas. What's the general reaction of people about this film?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. The most of the reaction is very nice and very good. People from one side, they were shocked that there are so many problems with the kids who are staying in the shelter these days near the front line, near the east part of Ukraine. And there's so many questions about where the kids now, whether it's everything okay with them. So overall, the reaction is very good. We were actually surprised that so many people were coming to watch this film. It's just documentary, but even with this, the screening in Ukrainian cinemas was extended for 1 week because of so many requests, especially in the big cities. And there was also a request from the small cities. So we hope there will be another screenings also in the small cities. So the reaction overall is very, very nice and very warm.
So who came up with this idea and why did you decide to film it?
You know, with the director Simon Lereng Wilmont, we have been working since 2015, and our first film from east part of Ukraine, from the war zone, was about the small boy Oleg. He was back then 9 years old, and his grandma. And we were filming about their life near the front line, about how they are dealing with this. And we were talking a lot. Simon told me a lot about it's good that Oleg has grandma. He has someone who's taking care about him, who's supporting him and helping him survive in this war. And he said, what if there is nobody, the kids alone, and there's nobody who can support the child, during this difficult time. And this is how we came up with the idea of looking for orphan or looking for some kid who is growing up alone in the front line. And this was how we came up with the filming in this special orphanage. Why it is special? Because kids there are mostly, they are not orphans. They just the kids from the families where the parents are using drugs or alcohol, like they are alcohol or drugs addicts. And because of that, they are losing their parental rights. And kids are taken to this shelter, like orphanage, for 9 months. And during these 9 months, their lives are going to be decided whether they are going back to biological families, if the parents stop using drugs and alcohol, if they find job, if they find good place to live for kids, or they're going to orphanage or to foster families. So these 9 months, it's very crucial in their life. And they are going through a lot of difficulties during this time. They are actually alone, and the only one who are helping them during this time, it's teachers from this orphanage. Mm-hmm. And these kids, especially these kids, they were actually lucky that they had Margot and Olga, two very kind persons, very kind teachers who helped them during this time. So that's how we came with this idea, and we started to film this film in 2019, and we were filming 2 years.
Mm-hmm. And then how did you get it nominated for an Oscar?
This is a good question. When we started to film this film, we never thought about getting to Oscar or getting awards or something like that. Our main task was to tell the stories of the kids. We met with Lena Rozwadowska, who is a children right defender, and she also consulted us a lot, advised us a lot how to work with kids. And for her and for us, the crucial important things was just to tell the stories of the kids, just to bring attention to the kids' problem because of the war, Russian war against Ukraine. So we never thought that we are going to be got Oscar nominated. But I think 70-80% of the success of this film is because of the protagonists who shared their stories with us, like kids and adults, like teachers who just shared this their life, who sincerely told their stories. And I think this is why people liked this film. People were coming and watching this film and supporting the protagonist. And also this film are very unique because of this film. We launched NGO who's helping now kids in all over Ukraine, which is Voice of Children. So I think it is not a question how we get nominated. It's a question that the quality of this film says from him itself, So we didn't put a lot of money or sources for promoting the film at all.
So you were shooting in eastern Ukraine. What were your locations and when exactly you were shooting?
So we started shooting in 2019. It was April. And it was the small city Lysychansk, which is Luhansk region, and which is temporarily now occupied by Russian army. It is a very nice city, actually. There's very nice people living in this small place. But on the first day of the shooting, we got under the shelling, and there were three of us, me, Lena, and Simon, sitting in the car, and we were just driving, in this region, looking for the other orphanage, looking for the context, speaking with people. And on the first day of the research filming, we got under the shelling not far from the front line. One of the grenade got to the tree, and the old shrapnels came to our car, and all the windows were smashed, and in few places the car was also smashed. But luckily for us, nobody hurt, and we survived. But I think it was like symbolically, the whole film started from the big explosion. But the filming itself took 2 years. Also 4 or 5 months took pre-production. It's when we were researching for the place where we were going to film. And also maybe 6 months took post-production, or making editing, finding the music, and all these questions. So overall, maybe 3 years. 3 years it took to make this documentary film.
Yeah, and what's the general challenges that you faced? You mentioned the shooting or the situation when there was an explosion close to your car, but in general, during these 2 years, what were the challenges and how dangerous was it overall?
It is probably my third documentary film which I'm making with Simon, but I think it was the most difficult documentary film, emotional-wise, and about obstacles and challenges. Whichever challenge you can imagine, we all face it. We faced all of them. It was the time of COVID, and there was limited access to the orphanage, and we were begging for the access. We said that we are going to make all the COVID tests every day, using all the masks, everything, just for us to get inside. There was shelling. There was problems with the parents getting access, from the permission from the parents to film their kids also, So you need permission just to go there and film someone's kid. And sometimes parents were completely drunk. Once the drunk father were running and trying to punch us, when we came just to ask the permission. This was, but I think the most difficult challenge for us, it was to gain trust from adults and from the kids, because these kids, these children from the orphanage, they lost their trust to adults. For many times, their parents were lying them, promising them to come to visit them, to come to get them home, but every time they were just lying. So for these children, it was difficult to trust someone from a side. When we came there first time, they were doubting, and they didn't believe us that we came there for filming them. And it took a time for us just to sit and speak with them, put the camera aside and spend with them time playing football, playing cards, just have a tea a party, just have a like small talk, answering their thousands of their questions about our life, where we came, how much our camera cost, you know. So it step by step, gradually we gained this trust. This was the biggest challenge for us. And maybe just after maybe 6 months, you know, they started to tell us all the truths which is going on in the shelter, like about their rituals, about their rules, about their hierarchy, about their like daily schedule, you know, how they live in. They started to trust us. And this was the most difficult things. And I think also the most difficult for us was at all to get access to filming in shelter at all, like in orphanage, because orphanage system in Ukraine, it is completely closed system. It's like to get access to prison.
So the war now is lasting for the second year, we can say. And of course, the situation of Ukrainian children in the East is getting worse and worse. What can you tell about these children in Eastern Ukraine, and how do you think this film can change the situation?
Actually, for us, the war are continuing the 9th year already, because it started for us since 2014. We consider what happened last year is just full-scale invasion. So for all this year, like for all this time, you know, our kids are facing the big difficulties living in the war zone because of the Russian aggression. They are losing their parents, they're losing their loved ones, they're losing their houses, homes. They had to fled away with their families. They're facing a lot of problems, especially about these kids. Luckily, they were evacuated on the first day of the full-scale invasion in 2022 in February. So they were evacuated from the east part of Ukraine to west part to more or less safe place. And our NGO helped assisted in this evacuation. And then they were taken to the abroad to Europe, and they still, most of them still there. We don't say where exactly they are because of safety measures, but we know that everything okay with them. They have really good place to live, to stay, all of them together, and only few of them returned to Ukraine. And actually, thanks to the film, one of the kids were adopted to the family, foster family, because when we were making the premiere of this film, and not far from the Lysychansk, for the children, for the protagonists of our film, one of the officials who came for the screening, for the premiere, he saw Kolya, main protagonist of the film, and he started to negotiate to adopt him. And he came just a few months ago. He came to our NGO's office, and he was actually crying and saying that because of the film, he found his second son. So we're actually happy that this film already changing the lives of the kids.
Yeah, actually, you're really doing a great work. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I was so happy to talk to you. You were with us from Kiev.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
We were talking to Azad Safarov, the assistant director of the film A House Made of Splinters. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.